JT, halfway point of the season. So just give us a midpoint evaluation of the offense. You guys doing what you want? More left on the table? What do you think?
Always more left on the table, but doing a lot of what we want, especially last week. There's been noticeable improvement week after week, with the exception of Texas, I would say. A lot of guys are coming along and really stepping up. See less and less, of us shooting ourselves in the foot. It was really good last week. That second half, we really did everything we needed to do every play.
Was your mentality going into a matchup where the weather could be involved, the wind could be involved? Have you talked at all to Graham about his experience having played there?
I have not. No, I never really have considered weather too heavily. Played in rain, played in snow when I was younger. Played in a lot of wind. It doesn't really. It changes a little bit when you're there, but in general, there's nothing you can really do to prepare for it. You just go out and throw it.
The run game obviously has improved greatly and continues. How much has that been a factor of the overall offense's ability?
That's a huge part of it. Being able to run the ball is essential. And since the first week, I think we showed early that we'll drop back and throw it. And you have to respect our receivers. You have to respect our ability to straight up drop back pass and take some shots. And then, as teams start to defend that a little more, the run game opens up, and we feel like we can run it against anything. But especially when Baylor starts to, just using that as a specific example, the more and more they started to play more two-match and play soft box. We capitalized on a lot of draws and a lot of guard tackle counter pull, and just took what they gave us.
What do you see from this Texas Tech defense? What jumps out at you?
They're confident and aggressive, two things I really like in a defense. They're not scared to play you in match coverage, match and man, and make you win your one-on-ones. It's similar to how Pitt was. It's a respectable defense schematically, and they have the players to back it up, I think.
We asked Graham actually about, with Lawton being out for the year, if there's a possibility of seeing CJ and Tony actually on the field together. Is that something that you'd like to see, and any thoughts on that possibility?
Yeah, we have a lot of different personnels we can get into. A lot of different things we can do, even with Garrett on the field. Garrett and I at the same time. I think we have a lot of talent all around. I'm sure there will be times where we see CJ and Tony at the same time.
19, good edge rusher. What do you see from him?
There's not much I watch from down linemen in general, no matter who it is, just because there's only some. I can't ever during a game look down at a rush, so there's not much. I mean, he's a very good player, I know that much, and you can just see it from when I watch film. I usually watch the back end secondary, but you can still see he's an all around playmaker, makes plays in the run game, great edge rusher, very talented guy too.
Does it hurt to lose O'Laughlin?
It really hurts. A great player, great friend. More importantly, great friend and great teammate. But on the field, a guy that's had 3 ACLs you just hate to see it.
The empathy for him, just
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've been through one of my own, but 3, and I'm pretty sure all 3 on the same leg is, it's tough and it's taxing. I just hope he doesn't lose his love for the game and his work ethic. I hope he comes back stronger.
What are the 3 or 4 most important traits a quarterback has to have to be successful? And I'm not talking about simply like a strong arm or something like that. Personality traits, maybe.
Personality traits. That's a good question. For a quarterback, there's a lot that goes into it. I think it goes into really every position, and anybody that's a high performer in really anything they do. Quarterback specifically, I think confidence is probably the number one thing, which confidence is earned through preparation, in my opinion. I'd say fearless, not just in terms of taking a hit, but you'll throw picks, you'll make bad decisions, you'll miss game winners in your life, you'll throw game-losing picks. It's going to happen. To be a consistent performer as a quarterback, you have to be fearless. No matter if you threw 3 picks in a row on the last 3 passes, you have to be, quick memory, and just get over it and keep throwing, making the right decision. And if the right decision is that you got to rip one in there, you got to rip one in there, no matter what happened the plays before.
You had one of those picks late this past week. How do you put that behind you?
I wanted to make it interesting. I don't know. Yeah, is you just do really. I've done it enough times. Just playing the game enough times. Like I just said, you're gonna have. Like I've thrown some game winners and I've thrown some game losers. And no matter what, like props to the defense, they absolutely stood up and made huge stops when they needed to in critical times. To me, I really don't think twice of it anymore. Like I've talked about it before, I treat every time you get on the field as its own individual scenario. So like after that, I'm like, this situation is tie ball game with 1:40 and 3 timeouts left. We got to get into field goal position at a minimum, keep the ball in our hands, and try and take off as much time as we can to score, and that's what we did.
When you studied that play, what happened there? What caused the interception?
I was being stupid. Yeah, it's 4-minute drill. Guy was looking at Bryce, not looking at the ball, and there was a lot of throws that game where I made, I think, some really good throws of where defenders are looking at receivers, and that's what happens when you play against match coverage teams that are covering man more than zones. And when they do that, good ball placement can put it right by their head, and there's a couple of those. That wasn't one of them, unfortunately.
When you were younger, I'm sorry.
A couple weeks ago after the Texas game, Coach was pretty hard on the receivers for drop passes and fundamental stuff. A week later, after the Baylor game, he obviously praised them for the effort. Kind of in between, what's your role as a quarterback in that, and the fact that, do you play a role in supporting them through the good and bad times, or do you simply just go out there and play your game and keep throwing it around?
I mean, when it comes to playing the game, like I have full trust in them, and there's nothing I can do about a drop pass. Specifically talking about playing the game, like I'm going to keep doing my job and putting it where it's supposed to be, and I trust them to continually do their job. And there have been a few, there not many, but there have been a few important drops, and it's going to happen. Like it happens everywhere. It sucks when they come on third downs or fourth downs. Those are big and can't have them. But as you saw last week, how many critical, difficult catches did they make throughout the whole game? I think they're just unlucky. Had a few of them in a few key times, and then I think they've done a great job to make it happen less and less. And last week they were incredible.
You talk a lot with them, though. I mean, I kind of.
Yeah, there's just nothing you can say about drops. Like I talk with them all the time on what I see this week and how we're going to throw fade balls, how each guy's going to get the ball. I'm involved heavily in all of that. But when it comes to drops, you can't say anything about that.
Any carryover from the Baylor to Texas Tech in terms of what they do schematically? I know they have a star listed in their 2 deep there. Any similarities there?
I mean, both teams will match more than true zone drop, I guess. Texas Tech will zone drop a little more than Baylor, who surprisingly Baylor zone dropped a lot more against us than played a true match. But not huge. Baylor's based more out of 2 high. I think Texas Tech a little more multiple, plays a lot more 1 high.
Knowing how much they like to pressure and play man, does that, I guess, add an element of excitement with your receivers knowing opportunities are going to be there?
Yeah, and I mean, we try and create opportunities every week first, no matter what we see for receivers. But Price and KP are definitely great one-on-one, fade stop runners. So I'm sure they love any time they can get one-on-one in the boundary.
You said at the beginning that every offense can get better. Specifically for you guys, what's your next step? Do you think?
That's a good question. Because I think we've done a lot of things really well. I'm not positive what our third down conversion rate is, but third down is a critical stat. We could be more explosive. Like the top 6 stats that are most predicting of wins is turnovers, explosives, third down success, red zone success, lost yardage plays, and off-schedule throws. So those are 6 areas that I personally am always trying to improve our offense in. I think we do a great job with lost yardage plays. I think we've been good on third down. We could score more touchdowns in the red zone and not take 3, and we could be a little more explosive.
50% on third down, that's pretty good.
That's really good. So, yeah.
You get a lot of snaps, shotgun, just really quick stuff, and you're kind of like in a box over and over. You guys have rolled out a bunch the last 2 games. How do you feel about that, and how much different was those? It seems like you're moving the pictures, and you got to get reset again, and it just seems like it's complicated to watch. I don't know how it is to execute.
You're just talking about movements in general? Just a higher
Really difficult.
higher frequency of them, or
And whatever you think changes, and that's maybe a challenge, or maybe
I like moving pockets and just adding more elements to it. It doesn't take much for an offense to, because we've always had them. Everybody has a couple of base movements. They're not difficult for an offense to do, but they add a lot more for a defense to think about. The more you have them in. So it's good to, try and move pocket. You help protect your run game and help protect free edges. And then if you can get the ball to playmakers' hands quick and easy, it's a great part of the offense. Great to have, a few of them a game that are easy completions and hopefully, just get you to 2nd and 5.
JT, you were obviously on the field a couple weeks ago in Texas when CJ goes down.
Yeah.
And the card comes out and all that. Sounds like he's going to get back to practice today and work out a little bit. It hasn't been that much time in between. But what's it mean to you? Just from being a kid and watching him go through that, and now he's back. I mean, what's that mean?
I mean, it was very emotional when it happened. Both sidelines are cleared, and it's like we thought it was very, very serious. Thank God it was what it was, and just a severe concussion, not anything more serious than that. But CJ's just a tough kid, in general, and he just likes being around and loves playing football. He's always always a smiler, always having fun, and just a joy to have around. I'm just happy to have him out here.
So I'm straight here. You said more man coverage from these guys you're going to see on the outside?
More than we have seen in the past couple of weeks. I think Texas played a decent amount of match. Baylor is a heavy match team, but they zone dropped and simulated a lot more against us than they had shown. Texas Tech plays a good amount of, they play some true man and a lot of match in general. They'll mix in zone drop too, but for the most part, they really it's really their outside corners that they trust, and they're bigger player. Their corners are bigger players, and seem like they have very good instinct and are good man coverage players.
How do you feel about catching passes if you're going to line up a receiver?
I hope they let me get one. That'd be fun.
Okay, anything else for JT? Thank you very much, sir.
Good.